Hello there. In this video I'm going to show you how you can make this personalised Harrington font heart pendant. Here we're using a Harrington font, but there are a range of other fonts available on Fluid Designer for 3D printing, and also a number of different types of heart that you can use for the outline for the pendant. So if we start Fluid Designer for 3D printing up, we're going to use the connectors folder to add a wire connector, a wire ring at the top of it. I'm going to use one with 2.5mm diameter hole, but we could use 3 or 3.5, just depends what kind of chain you want to use. I'm going to use a Harrington font, and I'm going to use the capital letter A, so I'm going to use this object here, but there are lots of other fonts available. Blackadder, for example, you could use. Brush script, etc, etc, and you can use lowercase or uppercase, and essentially it's all pretty much the same way of actually doing it. I'm clicking on group library here because it refreshes this file list here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a heart pattern, so I'm going to go to patterns heart folder, and again there's a range of hearts that you could use as the outline for this this pendant. I'm going to use heart 015, so this object here. So I'm just going to drag and drop that onto the workspace. Now I'll just switch on screencast key, so any key presses I make should be displayed down here. Now the grid size here, the default grid size is 20mm by 20mm, so you can see what the size of this heart is. It's about 24mm across, so you don't want to scale it up much more than that. You can do if you really want, but that's about the right sort of size to start with. And if we look at the bevel object over here, what that's telling me is that this is 1mm across here and 2mm deep. Now if you wanted to make a thicker pendant, all you need to do is to change it here, but obviously you do realise that that will increase the price the more material you use, and also change the weight as well. So the default size is 1mm by 2, but you can change it over there. View and top view is where I'm going to go to now, and I'm going to add the Harrington font letter A that I showed you previously. So it's in patterns, alphabet Harrington font, and I want the letter A, so it's this object here, but we don't drag and drop it. What we do is we append. So if we go to File and Append, and we just go up through the menu system in Fluid Designer until you get to the Groups folder. And here we can see Patterns, Alphabet Harrington Font. And I want capital letter A, and it's always the object that we append. So append from the library. Now what we can do is position it. And it's a little bit larger than I actually want. So I'm going to press the S key on the keyboard for scale, and just move it in a fraction. And whenever you scale in Fluid Designer for 3D printing, you must always do Control A and apply the scale. If you don't do that, the thickness that's registered over here won't in fact be right. So you must always, when you scale in Fluid Designer, do Control A and apply the scale. Now I might move that down a little bit there. And I want to join these objects together now, so with the A selected, if I hold down the Shift key on the keyboard and select the heart, go to Tools, Object Tools, I can join them together. Now my arrowhead of the heart is not really displayed very well at the moment, but if I go into Edit mode by pressing the Tab key on the keyboard, and if I just hold down the Shift key and highlight the control points that are around the arrowhead, and also that one there, and then if I press the I'll just switch off snap actually. If I press the G key on the keyboard, I can move that arrowhead and reposition it. I could have it overlapping there and close the heart, or I could leave it somewhere like that. Now it is important that objects do overlap for 3D printing, otherwise you won't have a solid object. So I'm going to leave it at that and just press the Tab key to come out of Edit mode. Now if you wanted to change the way that these overlap at the bottom here, you could press the Tab key and go into Edit mode You could select a control point and press G to grab, and you can move it around and reposition it if you like. I'm quite happy with that. What I want to do now is to add a ring connector at the top of this. I showed it you before. It's in the connectors folder, and I'm going to use the one with a 2.5mm internal diameter hole. So I go to File and Append, up through the menu system to the Groups folder. It's in the 3D Templates Connectors folder, and I want a 2.5mm diameter hole, so you can choose a different size if you want. And just append that from the library. And then really all I need to do now is to sort of position it in the right sort of place. I'm just scrolling in with the center mouse button there. I can just go to wireframe here and see where the position of it is. I just want it somewhere in the center there. Now that connector has got a different thickness from the main body of this pendant, but with the connector selected, if I hold down the Shift key and highlight the pendant itself and just go to Tools, Object Tools and Join, it will take on the same thickness, the 1mm by 2mm thickness of the pendant. And because this is all a parametric smart object, I could, if I wanted, change the thickness at this stage as well, make it 4mm deep or 1mm deep if you wanted to create an earring. I'm going to leave it as 2mm deep. Okay, so that's essentially it. That's how easy it is to create this personalised heart-shaped pendant, in this case with a Harrington font on the inside of it. That's all you need to do. Other than export it as a suitable file format, I tend to use Wavefront OBJ. You could use STL. I tend to save it to the desktop, and I saved this earlier as Personalised Harrington font heart pendant. And then the only thing is, once you've saved it, you must always go to Netfab Basic when using Fluid Designer for 3D printing. Run the repair procedure and do automatic repair and execute. I mean, I did do this earlier. And apply the repair and remove the old part. And that's all you need to do essentially, apart from then save it. So you go to Part, Export, and export it as a wavefront object again. And that's it. That's how easy it is to create this personalised pendant. So good luck in creating your own. If you want us to do it for you, please update information through Shapeways or through our website. Thank you.